All right, let's tackle one of the biggest questions out there in the world of tech and finance. It's the $200 billion question. Literally, why hasn't SpaceX gone public yet? We're going to break it all down.
I want you to just picture this for a second. You wake up tomorrow morning, you scroll in on your phone, and bam, there's the headline. SpaceX announces its IPO. What do you think happens next?
Well, for starters, the global financial markets would just freeze. I mean, everything would stop. All the money, all the attention, all of it would snap towards this one single event.
You better believe Wall Street would pull an all-nighter. Every trader, every analyst, every single investment bank, they wouldn't even think about sleeping. This would kick off the biggest IPO scramble in history, and nobody, and I mean nobody, would want to miss out.
And then you've got the people inside SpaceX. You know, the early employees, the first investors. Their lives would change in a heartbeat. We're talking about a level of wealth creation that is just staggering. An entire new class of tech millionaires and billionaires created literally overnight. So that brings us to the real mystery, right? If you're Elon Musk and you're holding a card this powerful, a card that can literally reshape financial markets, why on earth haven't you played it yet? That's the big question we're going to get to the bottom of.
Okay, so to really get the answer, we have to start by completely rethinking what SpaceX actually is. Because, what most people think it is, well, they've got it all wrong.
See, most people look at SpaceX and they see rockets. That's it. A rocket company. But that's like looking at a locomotive and calling the entire Union Pacific a train company. That's not what it is. SpaceX isn't just building the vehicles, it's building the entire highway system to space. And this is such a powerful way to think about it. Back in the 19th century, whoever owned the railroads, they controlled everything. Commerce, expansion, you name it. SpaceX is playing the exact same game, but for this century. They are building and therefore controlling the road to space. And let's just talk about the sheer scale here. We're looking at a private valuation of $200 billion. To put that in perspective, that's bigger than giants like Boeing. This isn't some scrappy startup anymore. This is basically a private space program with the power of a small nation.
But here's the crazy part. That massive $200 billion number, it's probably way too low. I mean, think about it. They've only just nailed their reusable rocket tech. Starlink, their global internet service, is just starting to become a cash machine. And the biggest piece of all, the whole Mars colonization plan, that's not even priced in. The real potential here is just off the chart.
And all this dominance, all of it, really boils down to one simple, almost childlike question Musk asked. For decades, the entire industry just accepted that rockets were disposable. You use them once, you throw them away. He just looked at that and said, wait, if airplanes can land, why can't rockets? And that one question completely shattered the economics of the entire space industry.
And this is the result of that thinking. Just look at the difference. SpaceX can put something into orbit for a fraction, like less than 20% of what it costs their competitors. This isn't just a competitive edge, it's a cliff. They've basically made it impossible for anyone else to compete on price.
Okay, but as amazing as the reusable rockets are, they're not even the main events when it comes to the money. No. For that, we have to look up at that giant constellation of satellites circling the globe. We have to talk about Starlink.
Because Starlink is so much more than just getting Wi-Fi to your cabin in the woods. This thing has quickly become essential global infrastructure. We're talking military communications, logistics for huge shipping fleets, connectivity for rescue teams in disaster zones. It's not a luxury service, it's becoming a utility, like water or electricity.
And this is what makes it so powerful from a business angle. A rocket launch, that's a one-time payment. But Starlink, that's a subscription. It's a recurring revenue machine. Every single month, millions of users and huge corporations are paying. That creates a predictable, stable, and absolutely massive river of cash flowing into the company. Just to give you a sense of how big this is, analysts are saying that if you spun Starlink off as its own company, its IPO could rival early Tesla. Yeah, that Tesla. That's the financial engine we're talking about, hidden inside the larger SpaceX mission.
All right, so this brings us right back to where we started. You've got the most dominant rocket company on Earth, you've got this cash-printing machine called Starlink, so why on earth would you stay private? Well, the answer is a fundamental clash of two completely different worlds.
So let's just lay it all out one more time. The valuation is insane. The money-making engine is revving up. All the pieces are there. So why not just go public and cash in?
And here it is. This is the whole reason. On one side, you have Wall Street. It lives and dies by one thing:
the next quarterly earnings report. It wants profit, and it wants it now. On the other side, you have Elon Musk's goal, which isn't about the next quarter, it's about the next 1,000 years. It's a survival plan for humanity.
And that's the bottom line, right there. The stock market is an engine built for one purpose, to maximize short-term profit. It is not and was never designed to fund a multi-generational mission to save humanity from extinction. The two goals they can't coexist.
I mean, just try to imagine this. Imagine being the CEO of a public SpaceX and you're in a shareholder meeting. You have to justify spending billions, not millions, billions on building a city on Mars. The first hand up is going to be an analyst asking, yeah, but what's the ROI on that next quarter? The Mars mission would get torn apart by that kind of short-term thinking. Staying private is the only thing protecting the ultimate goal.
So, does this all mean SpaceX will stay private forever? Probably not. But the timing and the conditions have to be exactly right. See, Musk isn't against an IPO. He's just against it being a weakness. And he's actually been pretty clear about his conditions. Here's the game plan. Step 1, Starlink has to be generating a stable, massive, and predictable fire hose of cash. Step 2, that fire hose of cash has to be big enough to fund the entire Mars mission on its own, without any help, and only then, once the long-term mission is totally safe and self-funded, do you go public. Because at that point, the IPO isn't a vulnerability. It becomes a weapon.
So when that IPO finally does happen, it's not going to be just another ticker symbol on the news. It's going to be a historic signal, the moment that human ambition and the capital to fund it officially leaves the planet. So the real question for you is, when that day comes, are you going to be someone who just sees another news headline, or are you going to be someone who understood what that shift really meant long before it happened?